I had a couple interesting interviews actually that came out. One where he was talking about he's not really pressed by artists or rappers now, and that's just from a standpoint of not hating, but just saying nobody's really keeping him up lyrically or whatever. But he did show the drill movement and Pop smoked some peas and said he was excited about that. But there's an article on Financial Times where he was just kind of talking about random things like Tupac and Big and Amy Winehouse. And then there was one quote that was the headline that was pulled, and I'm going to read the quote to you all and see what you guys think. It says, "The business is hard, and not many artists make it. But as long as you keep your soul, so long as you are happy knowing you contributed something positive to the atmosphere, then you can't lose. No one gets out unscathed. There's going to be some turbulence. But you're here to make music, change lives, and help people." So Nas pretty much put a whole, bow on his experience in the music industry, pretty much saying, stay true to yourself. I thought that's a very powerful comment, but I'm not sure if a lot of artists look at it like that, especially from the standpoint of the comment where he says, "But as long as you keep your soul, so long as you're happy knowing you contributed something positive to the atmosphere." That part right there of his actual comment, I don't know if I necessarily think that, there's a lot of artists that think that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially now, we know things have changed. Rap has always been about getting some cheese and, helping your family and all of that. But now, actual art of it has been pushed way to the left. It's really about, instant gratification. I think it's more about money than it's ever been, in my personal opinion. But Lone, I'll come to you first. What do you think about that comment, man? Do you think that applies to today's artists on the grand scheme of things? Do you think they look at it that way, or is it more about, the instant gratification, the views, and let's just get to the paper? That's the way I see it.
I think it's both. I don't think it's any more now than it was back then, and vice versa. Realistically, I do think it's important to go into any industry that you're into with the idea of enjoying what you're doing the most that you can. And especially from a creative standpoint, if you go into the music business and your one goal is to simply make money on your artistry, and you don't care about what you're doing with your artistry, if it's not making money, then I think you're in it for the wrong reasons. I think it needs to be like a coexistence of that. So I think there's some merit to it. I do think it's important from his stance to come at it with that type of attitude in general, if you're creating something. And I don't think it has to be simply music. I think that's anything that you spend your time on, because not to get too side deep into it, but like, we're only on Earth for so long, right? And it's important for us to spend the time of what we're doing on stuff that we enjoy and we want to be doing, and so to that extent, I guess that's what I feel.
Well, I didn't take it as him coming off as, there's nothing old about the comment or nothing. It's just a fair assessment from his opinion as to how he, how he saw it. And I see what you're saying. No, maybe I'm, you're lying to yourself if you try to ignore the paper aspect of the game. So when you say that you think it's pretty much like the same as it was, I might disagree.
I was just going to ask you what part. I was going to ask you what part you disagreed with what I was saying, or what part you're pinpointing.
What I was pinpointing is the part that you said about it's pretty much the same, because I'd be a fool to say, rappers in the 80s wasn't trying to get that paper. Like, that would be ignorant of me to say that, right? So we know that. It was still about getting that bread and flossing and all the stuff that the kids do now. But I just think today's era has been ramped up more with the impact of social media and how fast people can become successful now. I think the artistry has started to be pushed to the side on the mainstream now, the majority. I'm not talking about, you can always find artists that are dope. You know what I'm saying? You can go find people that are dope and promote what you like. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is on the mainstream level, or the majority, I think a lot of it is going towards the instant gratification, man. How many views can I get? Let's get in here and get that paper solely, ignoring some of the rest of the stuff that he said in his comment. I think that it's more prevalent now than it would have been, in 88 or 95 or whatever. That's my only point. It's just because of social media, how things have changed.
Do you really think that, and this is to everybody, do you really think that technology has made it easier to be a big mainstream artist, though?
No.
Easier to do what?
Become a big mainstream artist.
Technology has made it to where you can be known, you might be famous, you may not be rich or you may not be talented, but you can be famous. That's what's changed. You know, I listen. One of my favorite interviews I listened to in this past week is Arsenio Hall did an interview with the Breakfast Club, and when I say the Breakfast Club, he did it with Charlemagne, which I'm glad it was just him. You know,
great interview.
I'll leave that for what you all wanted to be, but you know, when Charlemagne brought up, was like, yo, you know, I really miss you, having you as an outlet and this and the third. He's like, look, you know, at one point, Tommy Mottola would have needed to come to me and say, I have a tape. This young lady named Mariah Carey. Okay, I need to have her on your show. You don't need that anymore because everyone, if you have a YouTube, just like we have as the new old heads, basically you have a television network. You know, if you have Instagram, you basically have an outlet it's a direct-to-consumer model that did not exist, you know, say in 1989, 1990, you know, when Arsenio Hall first started. And so it's a different time, like, but, you know, the thing is, you can, like I said, it's so easy to be famous now because you don't have, like, there was a time when you either had to be really smart, really talented, or really beautiful to be on the cover of a magazine, to be on a television show.
None of that matters like it used to now.
You don't need to be. Look, I remember, and this is going back several years. I remember seeing Snooki from the Jersey Shore on the cover of Rolling Stone. She is not talented, athletic, or particularly beautiful, and she still made it on the cover of Rolling Stone. And so that's, you know, and I'm, you know, she might be a nice person. I don't know her, but, you know, let's just be real. You had to be one of those three things to be on the cover of Rolling Stone at one point, and she's not any of the three.
So what
and
you're
she
saying,
made it on the cover of Rolling Stone.
So what you're saying is that you do think it's easier now because originally you said no.
I think it's easier.
Go ahead. What were you saying, Lone?
No, I mean, I said, do you think it's easier now than it was back then? And you said no. That's why I was just trying to make, but it sounded like you said yes with your answer.
I don't think for you to be an actual star, I don't think it's easier.
Okay.
You know, like you can be a flavor of the month. Like I remember at one point, like anybody remember when Slim Jesus was hot for like a week and a half?
Yeah.
Like he was, at one point, that was the most viewed thing that on the DJ Vlad channel. That was the most viewed thing he'd ever done. But what has he done since?
Yeah, so I agree with your take there because
a lot of people can figure out a way to be hot for a month, a week and a half, maybe a month and a half. But for you to be hot for a year is it's the same level of difficulty as it's always been.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this, and then I'll have to catch Terry up. I know you had technical difficulties. You ain't paid the internet bill. But here's my question to y'all. Or for what we're talking about here, what do we call Lil Nas X? That's my question. Is he a one-hit wonder? Is it a rap? Or familiar with his path? Because he just popped up. Literally popped up, and people talk about industry plants and all that type of stuff. But he is a star, right or wrong. Yeah.
But that's anecdotal, right? I mean, that's one take. I mean, that's anecdotal. You know what I mean? Like, is he still at the top though?
He's not where he was. I'll give you that. He's not where he was, but I wouldn't say he fell off the map either, though. Right?
No. He's branched out and done other things because, to Jay Moore's point, it's easier nowadays to create your own platform. You're not stuck on like if you get dropped from a label in 1993.
We
may never hear from you again.
Exactly. Nowadays, you can spin that into something now. So I think there's maybe more opportunities, but I think it's I don't think it's easier.
Let me get Terry caught up real quick.
Do what's
I
going
think he
on.
did the Cash App and everything. So
You
this is
hear
what
me?
we was talking about, Terry. You hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Can you hear
In
me?
there?
Because
Yep.
you hear
I can't
me?
hear.
Yep.
I can't hear him. He's in there?
I can hear him just fine.
I can
You hear him? Okay. All right, cool. Let's see. Give me.
Do you want to comment on that, Terry? Well,
I
mean-
check 1, 2. There he is. Got you.
I think it is absolutely easier to get on nowadays, and the reason being is you don't have to go through those certain avenues that you needed to go through beforehand. Now it can be easier and it can be harder, basically because it's so saturated with people trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing.
There we go.
In order to actually reach people is 10 times easier than it was back in the day, because everybody can afford to have pretty much access to everybody out there. Beforehand, you had to have some money. I mean, even in the rap game, everybody that was making it in the rap game, either was rich, was paid, was D-boys, or somebody was fronting the money that was D-boys. Like you couldn't be out here really faking it. Or if you was faking it, you was pretty much putting on a persona of the dude that was funding your operation. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
nowadays, it's a lot easier for you to access this, create this character. I mean, everybody that's popular online right now are pretty much characters. They say brand yourself and you are a brand. A lot of these brands are just clowns that do shit that people find interesting or really don't find interesting, but they still follow them. So in turn, they're still winning. I.e. Tekashi 6ix9ine. Regardless of if you listen to him, like him or not, you're going to see him because some strange reason we're interested in people that we don't even fuck with. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just to see what's going on per se. But I think there is a con and a positive toward that too, because it makes it to where you get so saturated with bullshit that you have to sift through and actually find the real shit.
Yeah, I'm with that. 100%. That's more along the lines of how I see it. But I get everybody's point. Y'all, everybody's made valid points there.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. And we invite you to join our hip hop community on Discord. Access it by going to newoldheads.com/community for talks on hip hop, sports, music, news, and everything else.